Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in today's video, we take a look at Cuphead and a brand new game theory which may make you look at its seemingly straightforward story in a different light. To quickly recap, Cuphead is a story of two brothers, Cuphead and Mugman, who visit a casino one day and after a streak of good fortune, end up betting their souls on a dice table and losing it all. The devil shows up and tells Cuphead and his brother they are doomed to eternal suffering in the pits of hell unless they travel the world collecting the souls of other cartoon misfits who owe a debt to the devil and his right-hand man, King Dice. At the end of each world, we pay King Dice the soul contracts collected for defeating these rogue debtors, and in turn are granted access to the next zone. Eventually making their way back to the casino and the gate of hell itself, Cuphead and Mugman vanquish the evil and live happily ever after with the free souls of the once angry cartoons they helped defeat. And that's basically it. A simple story to hang a bunch of cool and incredibly difficult boss gauntlets on, right? Well, maybe not. Let's take a look at how this story may be more than it first seems. Before jumping into this theory, we need to bear a few key points in mind. The era of the classic rubber hose cartoons and the time period Cuphead seems to be set within is the 1930s. This time period was also that of the Great Depression, a decade of severe economic hardship throughout the United States that caused the stock market to crash and many people to become poverty-stricken and riddled with debt. In turn, many of these people turned to drinking and gambling to try and ease their hardships, which of course only made things worse. We also need to consider how cartoons are made in the first place, and of course they don't simply exist, but rather they are sketched out and brought to life by a creator, a cartoonist or animator as we usually refer to them. Cuphead even seems to suggest the game, and indeed the story of Cuphead itself, is being drawn or thought out by a person as we play. Just look here during the tutorial section, it literally takes place on a sheet of paper. So the premise of this theory is that Cuphead is taking place within the mind of a troubled animator. An animator who, along with his brother, has gotten himself into a great deal of debt during the Great Depression of the 1930s while drinking and gambling his sorrows away at a local casino. Now he is doing everything he can to bail himself and his brother out of this sticky situation. In order to properly explain the events that led up to all this happening, let's back up and see how this animator ended up here. Remember, the events of the game are mirroring his own life to an extent, as the game is a representation of the thoughts and memories contained within the cartoonist's mind. Cuphead begins his journey in a quaint country landscape. In fact, from the little house surrounded by forests, fields and vegetable patches, it suggests the animator grew up on a farm, and it is likely that his parents were farmers by trade. This meant he grew up in a pretty safe place, free from the temptations of big city life. However, there was a local bar on a boat that may have been his first introduction to the temptations of alcohol. It is also possible his father frequented this bar, and at times his two boys, Cuphead and Mugman, would accompany him, meaning that the allure of boozing away one's problems was always a prominent factor in the young animator's life. From this mostly pleasant and idealistic childhood, the two brothers grew a little older and first visited the carnival. This is another place where gambling and the thrill of a quick adrenaline rush existed for the animator as he grew older. As a child visiting this exciting place, it became a permanent and long-lasting memory, and this is exactly why we visit the carnival in the game. This place of temptation and excitement got these two boys thinking, what if we move to the big city when we grow up? The country is so boring by comparison. At this point, I should reference the tutorial section once again. Now, it seems to represent early drawings sketched out by this budding animator as a child living at home. He was learning to draw from an early age, and while he does this, we are learning as an audience how to play the game. And this shows us that, as a child, he always had aspirations to become an animator, so moving to the city where all the big animation studios were located was a natural choice. It seems his brother tagged along too. And so we move to the next section of this timeline. The animator and his brother, now both young men, are living in the city and have found work. The city is full of the excitement both craved ever since first visiting that coastal bar and the carnival growing up. But this time they have complete independence, money in their pocket, and they are old enough to experience it all. So they began visiting the local casino. After all, the Great Depression is going on, people's moods are down, and there isn't much else to do for kicks. This is where I want to introduce the character of the Devil and what he represents if this theory is correct. The Devil appears from nowhere as soon as Cuphead and Mugman lose their souls at the craps table. But really, he has been lying in wait the entire time. This is also true for the real story behind Cuphead. The Devil is the animator's addictive personality. It has always been there ever since gaining his first taste of addiction at a young age. He symbolizes the bad inside this man, laying dormant until the moment where the animator gained the means to bring him out. The animator cannot stop gambling now, and he and his brother drink and gamble until they lose it all. The Devil is simply that, the devil inside both of them. However, Mr. Dice is very real, representing both the casino owner, forcing these two down on their luck losers to pay up, but also the bank chasing the pair for the debts they owe. The animator finds himself in huge amounts of debt and cannot progress past Mr. Dice, or the bank, until he has made each monthly payment. He needs to clear this debt while paying his rent, bills, and buying day-to-day essentials such as food. How is this even possible? By turning to the one thing he is actually good at, animation. The down-on-his-luck animator decides to take on as many cartoon contracts as he can possibly manage in order to clear the debt from his slate and bail out his brother too. Every day and night he works tirelessly, battling to get these cartoons out on time and move on to the next one. Every day is a struggle, a real battle, but he knows completing these contracts and giving his earnings to the bank is the only way he can return to the casino, pay off the debt, and finally turn his back on the devil inside, which brought him so much torment and hardship since moving to the big city. Many of the cartoons he draws have reference to gambling, drink, money, and authority figures such as police. All symbols which haunt the animator as he feels he could end up being brought down by any of them at any time. He keeps going. The real reason these cartoons are shown as battles is not only because of the volume the animator is forced to pump them out in such a short period of time in order to fulfill his contract with the bank, but also because this forced constant work is rapidly making him hate the thing he once loved, making cartoons. Now, as an obligation, and one with very serious consequences hanging over it no less, this process of making animated delights feels painful and miserable to endure. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. At the end of the game, we defeat the devil and King Dice. In reality, we are clearing this troubled animator's debts and subduing his inner demon. The animator and his brother now turn their backs on their excess gambling lifestyle and leave the casino and their demons behind them. The animator rediscovers his love for making cartoons once again. This is why it is no longer a battle, and at the end of the game we see Cuphead happily coexisting beside all the creations he had previously defeated. This animator can now make things at his own pace. A hobby he once loved while growing up on a country farm is now his occupation, and he and his brother learnt from their mistakes and have made it out of the other side of the Great Depression too. America's economy stabilized as the 1930s came to a close, and so comes to a close this theory and the hidden story you never knew about Cuphead. And that's it for today's video, guys. A quick theory about Cuphead today. I thought I'd try one of these, do something a little bit different. So if you have enjoyed a slightly different game theory today, then let me know in the comment section below, and I would love to do more of these, because looking for different meanings within games, as long as you present some evidence with it, it can be a really fun video, and I've had a great deal of fun making this video for you guys. So if you have enjoyed this, if you do agree with what I've said in this video, of course let me know in the comment section below. If you disagree, of course let me know in the comment section below too. And with that, guys, we are bringing this video to to wrap, so I hope you have enjoyed it. Now if you have, of course guys, remember to give this video a like, and of course subscribe to the channel for more game theories, horror game secrets, let's plays and all that good stuff guys, and I will see you all on the next video.